In the summer of 2021, I had exactly 4 weeks to learn JavaScript. I was at a software engineering internship where I was assigned a JavaScript project, but I actually had no experience whatsoever. So the challenge was up. I had to learn JavaScript really well, really fast, all on my own. So in this video, I'm gonna give you what I wish I had, the 5-level JavaScript pyramid. This will be your roadmap designed to take you from zero experience all the way to building real full-stack applications in JavaScript with modern tools and libraries. But please remember, you have to follow this pyramid in order to make sure your foundations are solid. Plus, I'll give you specific resources, projects, and skills you can do so you can become that JavaScript master. So with that being said, sit back, relax, take notes, and let's get started. The first layer of the pyramid is your foundations. And weirdly enough, this is where most people mess up. They get excited, start jumping between tutorial after tutorial, copying code, and it feels like progress. But in reality, nothing is sticking. It's like trying to learn a new language by memorizing random phrases instead of understanding how sentences are actually formed. Monsieur, as-tu mangé?
Oui, je suis plein.
Tu es plein?
Oui?
So at this stage, we slow things down. Before you're allowed to write even one line of JavaScript code, you need to build a real understanding, and here are 3 core things you need to get right. First, you need to think like a problem solver. Before you're a JavaScript developer, you are someone who solves problems. Code is just a tool. It's like a calculator. If you don't understand the math, the calculator doesn't save you. It just makes you faster at being wrong. So instead of asking what code should you write, start asking what problem are you trying to solve? Break it down step by step. If you can explain your solution in plain English, turning that into code becomes much easier. Second, you need to understand how the language actually thinks. JavaScript is not just syntax. It has its own rules, behaviors, and patterns. Things like variables, functions, loops, and conditionals are the building blocks of logic. For example, as a beginner, before you're ready to write paragraphs, you need to first understand how to form sentences or what proper English grammar even looks like. Third, you need to build with intention. Like I said, you should not be using random tutorials or textbooks. Stop treating yourself like a sponge, just trying to absorb everything. But rather, treat yourself like a builder. We're building our JavaScript knowledge base. Specifically when doing this, I want you to follow the 70-30 framework, where you spend 70% of your time building and 30% of it consuming new information. Building things gives your brain concrete examples to anchor abstract JavaScript concepts to. Plus, it gives you a sense of accomplishment and progress to help you stay mentally strong. And the best place for you to start off within JavaScript is Cody.tech. It starts from your basics, and in each module, it gives you a lesson, quiz, plus actual projects, so you're forced to be building, not just absorbing. If you ever get stuck, check out their AI assistant, which serves as a mini tutor for you, helping you solve the problem. The best part is they are 100% free, but if you want premium features like unlimited AI queries, you can use this code on the screen for here, 20% off, also in the description. The second layer of the pyramid is your environment and first real builds. Now that you understand how JavaScript works, it's time to actually run it. This is where things start to finally feel real, and here are 2 things for you to take care of at this level. First, you need to set up a clean, simple environment. Just like you want a clean desk to work at, you need a clean environment to code it. Download Visual Studio Code and install Node.js. Then, if you have any dignity as a programmer, you must put your VS Code into dark mode. Light mode is what my grandma would code in, so unless you're a grandma or maybe a little kid, you must code in dark mode. Second, you need to start working on beginner level JavaScript projects so you can actually understand how this language works. One of my first projects within JavaScript was creating a BMI calculator. BMI, body mass index, is the health metric that tells you how healthy you are based on your weight and height. It's a pretty straightforward project, but it still forces you to think. All you need to do is take in 2 inputs, height and weight, store those values, run a calculation, and output the result. It might seem simple, but you're practicing variables, functions, conditionals, and real problem solving. For example, you might start with the user input text box for people to put in their height and weight. Then you can code out a function that uses these values, does the BMI calculations, then returns a category like underweight, normal, or overweight. Bonus points if you add in validations, handle edge cases, and even write up some test cases. If you want more JavaScript project ideas, be sure to check out Free Code Camp. Yes, it is free. And go through their list of 21 JavaScript projects. It will get you touched up on data structures and algorithms in this language. Or check out the Odin project if you want to get started with some web development. Really quick, as a software engineer, I am great at writing code. But when it comes to things like documentations and presentations, I struggle a lot. That's when I stumbled upon Genspark, and truly it has changed everything for me. Genspark is an all-in-one AI workspace. So instead of using 10 different AI tools, I get the power of all of them in one. Genspark is awesome because it isn't just another chatbot. Instead of just giving you answers, it actually goes out and does the work for you. It pulls from multiple AI models and tools to give you finished outputs like full presentations, documents, even websites. For example, I gave it a rough idea for a pitch deck and it turned it into a clean structured presentation in minutes. This is something that used to take me hours between research, writing, and design. And as an engineer, I also really like their AI developer feature. You can literally describe an app or a website in plain English and it will generate and launch it for you, which is great for quick prototypes or side projects without getting stuck in setup. Another one I really like is Speakly, which not only does it turn your speech into clean, polished writing, but it also lets you do things like reply to emails instantly. For example, if I'm dealing with international emails, I can just speak in English and have it automatically translated into something like German before sending, which saves a ton of time. And so if you're ready to level up your AI workflow, check out the link in the description to get started with Genspark. An extra perk is that they're currently offering an introductory deal. New users can try advanced features like AI web app building and deep research for free, so definitely take advantage of that. And now back to the video. The third layer of the pyramid is learning front-end development with React.js. At this point, you know JavaScript, you've built small projects, but now you need to learn how real-world applications are built, and that's where React comes in. React is essentially a way to build user interfaces in a structured and scalable way. And there are 4 key ideas here that you need to truly understand. First, components. In React, everything is a component, which is just a reusable piece of your UI. Instead of writing one giant file for your entire app, you break it into smaller parts, components. This is important because real-world applications are not small. I mean, think about Instagram. You have a navigation bar, a post, a comment section, and a like button. If all that lived in one file, it would be chaos. Components let you piecemeal your application. So if you want to create something like a to-do app, for example, in React, you might create a to-do list component to hold all tasks, an item component to display each task, and a main app component to tie everything together. Second, state management. The entire point of state management is simple. It allows your UI to automatically update when your data changes. For example, with the to-do list app that has a bunch of different tasks, if you use state, that list of tasks ends up being tracked by React. Every time you add a task, you're updating the data, and React will automatically re-render the UI to show a new task that you add. If you don't use state management, no matter how much the data changes, the UI will never be updated. So the user is just confused. Third is props and data flow. Props are how components talk to each other. They allow you to pass data from one component to another. For example, your list component might store a list of tasks, and then a child component of that might need to display a single task that the user has selected. Therefore, you could use props to flow in the data from the list of tasks such that it displays that selected task in the child component. This really helps your app stay organized and allows each component to operate using the data that they actually need. Fourth, async behavior. Imagine I'm dealing with a third-party weather database, and I use an API function to fetch in data. If something goes wrong with that function or that data, that would instantly crash my website right away because of the corruption. That's where asynchronous functions fix it up. You can fetch the data via API, and independently as that is happening, we can render the UI. Then once the data is received, we check to see if the data is faulty. If it's good, we can then render the UI with the good data. If not, we can decide to not re-render the UI, and the bad data has no impact. This is the asynchronous behavior code execution that happens, which allows you to have more control of what happens to your application. In terms of resources for React.js, I have heard great things about using Epic React, which focuses on understanding React deeply. Another great one is Frontend Masters, where you can learn React from engineers who actually work in the industry. The fourth layer of the pyramid is backend development with JavaScript. At this point, you can build clean front-end user interfaces. But now you need to understand what actually powers those interfaces behind the scenes. Things like servers, requests, databases are super important, and this is where tools like Node.js and Express.js come in. And for this, there are 4 main concepts you need to learn. First, the request and response cycle. Every time you interact with an app, something happens behind the scenes. When you load a page or or even just click a button, like maybe the like and subscribe button down below. That sends a request to the server, and then the server processes that request and sends back a response. For example, in a to-do app, when you add a task, your front end sends a request to the server receives it, processes the data, and sends back a response confirming the task was added. Second, routing. Routing is how your server knows what to do with different requests. For example, if someone wants to create a new task, that might hit one route. If they want to retrieve a task, that hits another route. If they want to delete a task, that hits a different route. Routing gives your application a clear way to organize different actions. Third, databases and data persistence. For example, in our to-do list app, anytime you create a new task, you want it to be based within a certain database so that you can retrieve those tasks later on. A backend accomplishes that by storing data using things like MongoDB or Supabase. Those are like popular databases. Fourth, authentication and control. If I'm using the to-do list app, I want to be able to see my tasks. But if one of my buddies also wants to use the to-do list app, he should only be able to see his tasks and not my private personal tasks. That's why authentication and control are so important. Because not only do you have to control things on the front end, like each person logging into their own portal, but also on the back end, you need to make sure no one can even access certain data via API requests unless they have the right permission. In terms of actual resources to learn backend development, one of the best places I've heard of is the Node.js crash course by Traversy Media. It shows you how servers, requests, and responses actually work in a pretty straightforward way. Then I would also recommend to move on to their Express.js crash course, where you'll see how routing and APIs are structured in real applications. If you want something a little more structured, Full Stack Open is one of the best free courses out there. It walks you through building full backend systems with real-world practices, including APIs, databases, and authentication, the real deal. The fifth and final layer of the pyramid is production and real-world engineering. And at this point, you are no longer just learning JavaScript, you are using JavaScript to build real applications that people can actually use. This is where everything comes together. You have your front end with React, your back end with Node and Express, and your goal now is to connect all of it into one complete system. And for this, there are four main things we must learn. The first is understanding full stack integration. This means your front end is no longer working in isolation. For example, with the to-do list app, when a user adds a task, your React app sends a request to the backend and your backend stores that task in a database. And then it sends back a response and updates the user interface. That integration piece where we're connecting the front end and back end is what actually makes your project from practice to real software. The second part of this layer is deployment. Up until now, everything you have built has lived on your computer. So now we need to take your application and put it on the internet so everyone else can access it. You can deploy your front end using platforms like Vercel or Netlify, and your back end using platforms like Render. You should also learn how to connect your front end to a live API, manage environment variables, and handle real-world configurations. Third, you need to develop debugging and testing skills, and this will turn you from a good to great software engineer. As we ship things out into the real world, things will break, and that's okay. It is part of the process. But you need to get comfortable with reading error messages, using browser developer tools, writing test cases, and figuring out why something is not working. Trust me, it is super valuable, especially in the age of AI writing code slop. Finally, fourth, you need to learn version control and collaboration using Git and platforms like GitHub. This allows you to track your code, manage changes, and work with other developers. But beyond just that, all the projects that I've talked about in this video, you should put on your GitHub repository, because that will become the proof of your expertise within JavaScript. Then, when you're looking for a job in the future, you'll have a whole portfolio of JavaScript projects at your disposal, and you should be able to get hired. And if that happens, don't forget to Venmo me 50% of your salary. Well, that's about all I have in this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're interested in my absolutely free tech newsletter, link for that will be down below in the description. And if you're interested in learning how to code in Python fast, you might like this video right here.